Hi guys, welcome back. If you're just tuning in for the first time, thank you for joining us. My name is Emily and I am a drama mama. I am a parent, but I also am pursuing acting. So let's get started. So today I am going to talk about lessons and the importance of taking lessons and kind of how to make your money stretch as far as possible, because we all know that we don't have unlimited funds, so we need to pick the best lessons for our money. So I'm going to talk about kind of the classes I've taken and what things I would advise. So before we get started though, I do want to talk about something that's come up a couple times since my first video. I have had a couple people say, Emily, you know you're not old, right? So I just want to say, yes, I know I'm not old. I know, like I said in my first video, I'm 28. I'm not old. But the reason I said that I feel like I'm starting this late is because I'm up against actors who have been doing this since they were kids. So I feel old in the sense of I don't have enough experience compared to these other actors. I also feel old just because I have a kid. There's something about having a kid that it kind of like ages you. If you have a kid, you understand. So, wanted to clear that up. And now let's get started. If you are pursuing musical theater, take vocal lessons. I wish I had started taking them sooner because they are the best. So, the thing to look for though, if you're going to take vocal lessons, first of all, any vocal lessons is good. So, if even just starting out, just takes vocal lessons with whoever you can find, that's fine. But to get the most bang for your buck, you want to make sure you are taking it with someone who really knows musical theater. Okay? So the advantages to this is they will be able to tell you what songs are good for you. So they'll take a look at you and they'll say, this is kind of the type that you look like. You could play these type of roles from what I see. Then they have you sing. From your vocal range, I would say these roles are the ones you could go after. So since you could go for these roles, let's work on these songs for auditions. So that's the best. Two, the other reason that they're good is they probably know people in the industry. So they might be chatting with someone and be like, I have this great student right now and I think she'd be perfect in your next show. So connections, networking, which we're going to have another video about networking at some point. Not yet. So take vocal lessons and make sure, and if you can, find someone who really knows musical theater. And I understand when you first are looking at vocal lessons, you're going to be like, that's so much money. So like in Louisville, I'd say the average is around $60 an hour, and then like $30 if you're doing a half an hour time slot. I do an hour time slot every other week, so that really adds up, but it is so worth it. I mean, and if you have auditions coming up, definitely try to take a lesson. If you're kind of in between shows and don't have any auditions, you can spread out your lessons so that way you're not spending so much money. Now, if you're not a musical theater person, then you're probably going to have other classes that are more important. But musical theater, I mean, that's the first thing they see when you go to an audition. You're going to sing. So obviously acting and dancing also have to be good, but singing is, I mean, you have to blow them away at your audition with your song. So vocal lessons, very important. Next thing is acting classes. And so this goes for anyone acting. So I would say first talk to your friends and see if they've taken classes with anyone. And if you keep hearing the same person over and over again, you probably want to take classes with that person. So Louisville Actors Theater has acting classes taught by Zan Sawyer Daly. And I've heard from so many people like, yeah, I took her lesson, it was great. So I signed up for that class. So I actually just had my first class this past week. And it was a great class, even just the first one. So if you hear from someone like you need to take these acting classes, yes, do it. The other thing I would say for acting classes is look for the deals. You might see that a studio is offering the first class free. Go to the first class, because then you don't lose anything. You can go, and if you don't like it, you don't have to go back and you didn't spend any money. I actually, when I first graduated from college, I did this with dance studios. A lot of the dance studios had your first private lesson like for free or half off or reduced rate or something. So I went to like a bunch of dance studios and got all those reduced rates, which was good for me because I saved money. And it was good for those studios because then they got someone in there that might not have gone to that studio to begin with. So I ended up spending way more money than they lost from that free lesson. So take advantage of those free lessons. I actually recently just took a free lesson at Louisville Studio of Acting, and I love them. They're fantastic. I take classes with Paula, and she does like very personalized lessons, and she'll check in with me like outside of class. She'll be like, hey, how are your goals going? How was your audition? Like, so she'll check in with me. So I really recommend taking that first free class, because if you don't like it, then you're not out any money, but you know, you might end up liking it and find a really good studio. Why are acting classes so important? Because two things. One, obviously, you're practicing your craft and learning new techniques, and just, I mean, even if you think you're the best actor, you should still take acting classes because you will always learn something new. But then the other reason it's good is because you never know who knows someone. So, I mean, I have met so many people by taking acting classes recently that I would not have known otherwise. Like, I mostly do theater, so I didn't know anything about film, and now I've met different film people. So, your instructor probably knows different people, and then other actors who take the classes with you probably know people too. So just building up, networking in any way is good. So acting classes, you're not just working on your skills, you're also meeting people in the industry. So I highly recommend acting classes because of this. Dance classes. If you're doing musical theater, obviously dance classes are important. If you're not doing musical theater, I still think they're important. So you're not going to do tap dancing if you're not doing musical theater. But ballroom dancing, salsa, doing ballroom for 10 years, obviously I'm just like, everyone should take ballroom dancing classes. So I'm a big proponent of ballroom dancing of any kind, swing dancing, salsa, West Coast swing, anything, just because even if you're not doing musical theater, getting that movement is really good for you. And the nice thing about dance classes is most of the time it's a group class, so it's cheaper. There are different studios who have like $5 dance lessons or $10 dance lessons. So you can show up and take that class, and it's flexible. So it's not like you have to pay in advance for this block of classes. You can normally just show up. Sometimes they have it cheaper if you do sign up for the whole month, but depending on your schedule, you can decide what's best for you. So that gets me to the other point, packages. Sometimes those are the best way to save money. So if you see that a studio that you really like is offering a package, buy it, okay? Because, sometimes the lesson will be like $20 for a walk-in, but then with the package, once you do the math, it ends up being like $10 a lesson instead. So like you can get a really big discount by doing that. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, the library. That's what I wanted to talk about. Okay. The library is a great resource. Check out your library. Seriously. So I get tons of plays from the library. I haven't bought a single play yet. Same with music. I've gotten a lot of my sheet music from the library. And then the library also has classes. And so, not acting classes, but depending on what you're pursuing, there's a lot of classes available at the library that are great. I actually, at one point, was thinking about getting into coding because my husband's a web developer, and I thought, maybe I could do that too. But I didn't want to. But I tried it out, and I tried it out for free through the library because the library, if you can sign up for Team Treehouse through the library for free, okay? So just there's so many random classes. I saw a class recently that they were offering at the library for sewing, learn how to sew. Now this one was only for teenagers, but still, I mean, like, you never know what kind of classes might show up at the library, so just keep track of what's available at your library because it's a great resource. Oh, that's right, budgeting. Okay, so let's say you find a bunch of classes that you want to take, but you don't have a bunch of money. So I say the most important thing is to kind of try and prioritize. So if, like for me, since I want to pursue musical theater, vocal lessons are the top one. So if I only have money for one lesson, I'll take that one lesson. I'll take that one vocal lesson. But maybe your priority is acting classes. So you don't have money for dancing classes. That's okay. Just take the acting classes. Set up a budget. It's definitely important to set up a budget. Say, this is how much money I know I can spend each month. And just like keep track of that. So say all you can spend in 1 month is $60. That's one vocal lesson. And that's all, you know. But if you're, you could do $60 on one vocal lesson that month, and then the next month maybe you can take some dance classes. And then I always do, for my budgeting, I do kind of a rollover system. So like if I spent $50 1 month, well then the next month I have $70 to use, you know. So I do like kind of that rollover system. So maybe you can't take that package, you know, that yet, but maybe at some point you will. So I would say budgeting is really important, especially when you have a family. But obviously, even if you don't have a family, budgeting is important because lots of jobs don't pay very well. Time management, yes, that's very hard with a kid. So the other thing that I consider when I'm doing classes is what time are these classes? Because some classes I just don't sign up for because they're not at a convenient time for me with my family. Like Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon are kind of my family times. So I don't really want to take classes in the middle of the day on a Saturday or Sunday. So I take my classes tend to be more at night. So that way it's kind of around the time my daughter's going to bed anyways. So, you know, kind of work out a schedule that works best for you. I have tap dancing lesson, and I signed up for tap dancing this particular class because it was at the exact same time as my daughter's ballet class. So that way we're both in class at the same time, so she's not losing time with me, and I don't feel like I'm losing time with her. So I would say definitely time management. What time do you want to spend on acting, and what time do you want to spend on other people? And, you know, look at the classes and see what ones are available at the times that you want them to be available. So I think that wraps it up. If you have any questions, you can email me. My email's below. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. That way you can get lots of updates. I do about a video about every week, or at least try to. So far it's been every week, so hopefully it keeps up. So subscribe and check out more videos.